Hi, my name is Arthur Guilloson, and today I'm going to present my final pecha kucha. I chose for my artifact an article by Robert Kolker written in the New York Times Magazine titled Who is the Bad Art Friend? The first concept I want to relate the artifact with is identity, which is defined in our book as the physical and/or behavioral attributes that makes a person recognizable as a member of a group, for example, race, class, sex, sexual orientation, etc. The second concept I'd like to relate the artifact to is persona, which is defined in our book as the ethos a reader constructs and perform, or that others constructs for a reader to perform during a rhetorical act. The key word here is that persona is performed. Finally, the last concept I would like to relate my artifact with is image, which is defined as a verbal or visual representation emphasizing particular qualities and characteristics that creates a perception of the reader in the audience's mind. In 2021, Robert Kolker wrote an article in the New York Times Magazine titled Who is the Bad Art Friend? It somehow took Twitter by storm and for a little while dominated the online discourse. The article touched upon a dispute between two writer friends and asked broader questions about artistics and ethics. This story, Dawn Dorland participated in a living, non-directed kidney donation, meaning that she gave a kidney to a stranger. She created a Facebook group to share her experience and for her friends to follow her journey. Sonia Larson wrote a short story titled The Kindest, which seemed to be very similar to Dawn Dorland's life, yet turning the altruistic kidney donation into a self-serving, ego-driven act. The story became so popular that the Boston Book Festival sponsored Sonia and printed 30,000 copies to be given away for free. So what prompted the rhetorical act? Well, the dramatic story creating a broader discourse about ethics. Robert Kolker is speaking to inform and analyze the situation and the implication it has beyond the dispute. What is the occasion? Dawn Dorland reached out to Robert Kolker to investigate the case. And who is the audience? The general public. The article is written in such a way that the reader builds the protagonist's identity, persona, and image in parallel. According to Robert Kolker, Dawn is white, she's a female, middle-aged, and a writer. The ingredients that make up Sonia's identity are that she is female, middle-aged, writer, and Chinese American. When building the identity of the protagonist, we can see that Robert Kolker manifests the difference between the two characters based on their race. Moving on to the personas created by the writer, Dawn is described as a feeler, open-hearted, and an eager pressing to make connection with others. She's also a victim of plagiarism. She signs her email with kindly, and she's somewhat of a selfless donor. Journalist Robert Kolker creates Sonia's persona as a successful writer, a plagiarizer interested in racial dynamics who understands life as an outsider. While the story unfolds, Sonia denies that her character is largely inspired by Dawn's story. The reader builds Dawn's image as the white savior. Although a kidney donation was given to a stranger, the donation wasn't anonymous. She got to write them a letter, which she shared on her Facebook group, and even had the chance to meet the recipient of her donation. As the story unfolds, Sonia's image becomes the one of the traitor. It eventually comes out through some leaked text that not only was Dawn the inspiration for her short story, The Kindest, Sonia was making fun of her the whole time, gaslighting Dawn and actually using verbatim pieces of what Dawn shared to the Facebook group. What makes the story so sensational is the masterful storytelling of Robert Kolker. The way the characters are depicted has the qualities of a great reality TV show. Betrayal, racial injustice, backstabbing, gaslighting. We, as an audience, get to create our own version of the story and get to choose who is the bad art friend. In a lot of ways, Robert Colker built the story in such a manner that our own biases can be projected onto the narrative, just like the famous dress. Was it white and gold or blue and black? We get to formulate opinion rooted in our perception of the rhetorical act. By performing a rhetorical act, Robert Colker invites the audience to pick a side. We are not just passive consumer of the story, we are asked to actively participate. We become judges, jury, and executioner. As the story evolves, and as more pieces of information are made available to us, the stakes of the debate evolves. The implication becomes larger. We can wonder what is a friend? Can the noble act of giving a kidney to a stranger be a self seeking action? Where to draw the line between inspiration and plagiarism? Now, how different do you feel finding out that the verdict that was rendered just 2 months ago has absolved Sonia of the plagiarism accusation? The kindest was protected by fair use in large part because the story doesn't mirror the tone or purpose of the original letter Darwin posted on Facebook. In conclusion, readers hold a lot of power in the crafting of their own persona and images. Elements of identity such as race, sex, and sexual orientation impact persona and image, but are less innate. Persona is performed and can be imposed on readers by others.